Hello YouTube. Today I'm getting back to a topic that I haven't been talking much about on this channel lately, namely Game of Thrones. Specifically, I want to talk about the choice of Bran to become the new king of Westeros at the end of the TV show. Well, it's Tyrion who suggests Bran as to become king for the remaining lords of Westeros, and they agree. That choice makes some sense. We know that Tyrion and Bran have met before, they like each other, and Tyrion's argument that Bran have a good story is something we have heard Tyrion talk about before, that's an important part of being a good ruler, that you have a good story that people can rally behind. So far, so good. There are, though, some major issues, I think, with crowning Bran, King Bran the Broken of the Six Kingdoms after Sansa declares the Northern independence, basically. First of all, Bran's story, as well as his supernatural abilities, are very tightly linked to the old fate. I mean, being the three-eyed raven, he basically is an embodiment, or at least a prophet, or oracle, or whatever, of the old gods. The old fate concentrated between the weirwood trees and the godshoods and so all of this stuff. That's great, but in the Six Kingdoms he's supposed to rule, the vast majority of people don't follow the old gods. They don't worship the old gods, they worship the new gods, focused during the seven-pointed star and the septs and all of that stuff. And we hear that a lot of the godshoods and weirwood trees down south have been cut down hundreds of years ago. So it's a little bit like a king in a Christian European country in the medieval ages would claim that to be the son of Thor or Odin or some other pagan god. The Christian lords and the population of his realm would look at such a claim with suspicion rather than anything else. And I believe that lords and people of the six southern kingdoms would just be suspicious of someone being that central in fate they don't follow. Especially if we are to understand that a fair amount of people are now following the Lord of Light, the Red God. Because the old faith is very tightly connected to ice, while the Red God, the Lord of Light, is very tightly connected to fire. And ice and fire seems to be two cosmic forces fighting each other in that universe. So any followers of the Lord of Light would be not just suspicious, but probably really hostile towards Bran. Now, also, if we put that part aside, he have no other real power base in the Southern Kingdoms. Yes, he is a Stark, and they are an old great house, and they have their large castle Winterfell as their ancestral home and so on. But all of that is in the north, and the north is now an independent kingdom. Bran have no wealth, he have no army, he really doesn't even have any friends down south. Tyrion maybe, but otherwise, does he know anyone left down there? Have we maybe talked to Gendry a few times? I don't know if I forget someone here, but I don't think so. And now add to that the fact that he cannot marry anyone, because it is stated pretty clearly that because of his paralysis from the waist down, he cannot have sex, and according to the culture in Westeros, a wedding needs a bedding, so he can't marry anyone. And as is stated several times in the show, and we can see in our own history and so on, in a feudal society, marriage is a really important way for gaining alliances. Bran can't marry anyone. He can't make children that he can marry off. And his siblings are either up north in another country or Arya somewhere sailing west of Westeros. So he can't marry off his sisters either, or brothers. Ouch. Political marriage for the win, right? So, what ability does he have to exert any kind of influence? And he also seems pretty uninterested in mundane affairs like the everyday running of a kingdom or a realm. And if we look back at the causes of all these wars and conflicts and schemes and intrigues that have plagued the Seven Kingdoms for the last decades, a lot of it comes down to unable rulers, unable kings. King Aerys, the Mad King, was, well, mad, and his decisions led to a lot of conflict and tensions that culminated in Robert's Rebellion. Then after Robert's Rebellion, when Robert became king, it became evident that he was completely uninterested in anything else than eating, drinking wine, and having sex with anything with a skirt on, except for, of course, his wife. Now, he was a famous warrior and a respected military commander, and he had quite a temper, so he managed to hold the kingdoms together through fear. People were scared of what to do if they openly crossed him. Or what he would do if they openly crossed him. And, well, it worked as long as he lived, but it led to that when he died, he left the kingdom, the realm, the kingdoms, in basically bankruptcy and politically about as stable as a house of cards. And the guy who took over this bankrupted house of cards was Joffrey. Well, Joffrey was unable to deal with this in a positive way because he was Joffrey. And it all exploded into what it would become the War of the Five Kings and all the other unstableness and infighting and so on that have gone on for a long time. Now, because of his lack of any support, any power base, and his lack of interest in mundane affairs, Bran is very likely to become just another one in this row of weak or unable or unwilling rulers. And therefore the risk is very high that the instabilities and schemes and infighting will just keep on going. And I think Tyrion and the other lords really wouldn't want that. I mean, the Seven Kingdoms have been ravaged, burnt down. Everyone would want to find a way to get back some stability and some peace. And choosing Bran, King Bran the Broken, would be, in my opinions, be a very good way to break any remaining any chance of peace. I have, of course, thoughts and ideas on what I think would have been a better choice, but this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to pause it here, and then I make another video about my suggestions for, let's call it, a constitution for Westeros. Peace out.